He is not the Ghanaian. He is my trophy husband.
Yeah.
I'm the Ghanaian that's come back home, and they always think it's the opposite.
It was empowering, where everywhere I went, there weren't black men. It was just men.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Kanbi, and I'm here with Expat Life Ghana. I mean, I know that's not you guys' name, but you know, they've got a really good YouTube channel which I watch all the time. Would you like to introduce yourselves to everyone?
Sure, I'm Tony.
And I'm Ayo.
Where did you guys move from?
We moved from Houston, Texas.
Oh, cool.
Just outside in one of the suburbs of Houston.
Oh, nice. Where is your heritage from, both of you?
You tell
Yeah,
yours.
we're different. Yeah, I'm Black American, and my family's mostly from Louisiana. So
Right, okay.
we're just Southerners who went out through the states there, but
Yeah.
a little different from hers.
Me, I am Ghanaian American. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I'm African American, which is different than Black American, I guess. My dad is Ghanaian and Nigerian, which is why I have the name Ayo. It's Yoruba. And my mom is Irish and French Canadian. So, so I always think it's funny because I'll tell people I'm a quarter Irish and they look at me like I'm a straight up liar. They're like,
Me, my background is, I trace my roots all the way back to a plantation in western Louisiana.
but he did do the DNA test and
Yeah.
found out that he's
Yeah, that I'm actually Ghanaian. So,
I know. No, I was mad. I was like, my whole life growing up, I'm like, I'm never gonna marry a Ghanaian guy. Oh my God. And then we did that. I was like, oh my God, they got me.
couldn't help herself.
I guess not.
So when did you guys decide that you wanted to make the move to Ghana?
So to be honest, I think I kind of, growing up with my dad being Ghanaian, it was always a conversation about coming back home. You know, like we want to in retirement or good visits. So that conversation for me was always fluid, back and forth. But you never thought of
No, not. I think it wasn't until like my first trip here that the thought even popped in my head, like, oh, I could live here, because I saw so much development happening and seeing all these big houses, and I'm like, oh wow, this is nice. So
I think he literally thought it was going to be like the bush, you know, like huts.
What you see.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, you know. And then you hear it's developed, and then you think, well, how much of it's developed, you know. But coming here and seeing what I didn't see in the media or in the news or whatever, really surprised me, and it just made me want to get into Ghana a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, when we got back from that first trip, like we only went for 3 weeks because he was like no to any more than that. He wanted to just do 2 weeks, and I was like, please, a month. So we settled on 3 weeks. The third day, he was like, we should have stayed longer. And it was,
so nice.
I know, and I was like, well, why is that? And he said it was the first time in his life that he wasn't Black. And I was like, wait, what? Is that real? So like, I just never understood that perspective because we're just coming at it from different places. But when he said that, I was like, dude, that's deep. It's so deep.
Yeah.
I think also it's really interesting because like my dad, he wouldn't say he's Black, he would say he's Ghanaian.
Right.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like not a thing, you know, like Africans don't normally say they're Black because, and especially
They
here,
are, yeah.
like people here wouldn't be like, oh, I'm Black, you know, it's just not,
Right,
it's
right.
just not there.
But in the States, you are most definitely labeled as Black without any connection to heritage, race, culture. Like there's no cultural
matter
connection.
really
No,
where you're
it doesn't matter.
from.
You're just Black.
You're just Black.
How did that actually feel for you?
Oh, I hate to use the word empowering, but it definitely was empowering, where everywhere I went, there weren't black men. It was just men. And when you're in the States, you know, I can go 5 or 6 different stores, and I would be the only black man in the store at the time. So you're consciously thinking about your race a lot, especially when it comes to safety and things like that, and just you're conscious about what's happening around you even. So as a black man, you know, you're always looking for the police. Where are the police? Because I know they're looking, you know, there's a black man over here. You know, just to lose that for a while, it was like a burden, you know, you felt like 20 pounds lighter, and it's like, oh, I like that feeling. So it was, I was in a rush to get back here after the first trip. I was in a rush to get back here. So I think the second trip did it for me, where I was like, hey.
The second trip, I almost wasn't sure he was going to get on the plane to come back. I was like, you can't actually stay here this time. Like, we have to go and get some things arranged. You need to come back home.
Yeah. So.
But it's interesting too, because like what you said about your dad, I think you think about your race very differently when you hear that you're African, or you're Ghanaian, or you're Nigerian, or West African, or wherever you're from, versus how your ethnicity is stripped from you in the States when you're black. It's like it doesn't matter. Nothing about you matters except for your color. Right.
Yeah. And it's like something you said where, people here, they don't say they're black, they're Ghanaian. And you see, in the States, I'm 50 now. I've been, in my lifetime, I've been Negro, colored, Black American, African American. Like the government has Afro-American. The government put all these labels on me to describe, my ethnicity, and it's like none of them were anything I would recognize or put for myself. So it's just to come to a place where, hey, you're this because this is what your blood says you are, and it's like, oh, that's a big difference. So. Just feeling, part of something that you can actually hold on to, and it's like, okay, I like that.
When was that you actually came on your first trip here?
2016 was his first trip. Then we came back in 2019 for that 8-week trip.
Okay.
And then we moved in 2020.
And what were the steps that you took?
Yeah, for you in 2019, he was already in research mode. He was like, I'm gonna go and see where would we get a car? Like, how would we find this? Where would we get for that? I was like, okay. So he was already, I think, like price shopping and area shopping. He really wanted to know the logistics of what things were gonna look like.
Okay.
And then it really just became about, on my end, it was like budget. Okay, we have to look at the budget. We have to figure out how to make sure we can afford a life here where we feel comfortable as easily as possible.
So what do you guys do in terms of like income streams and for work and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's all about online income.
Everything's online.
Okay.
Yeah, like that was kind of, I think the biggest key for us was figuring out a way to earn US dollars here. When you think about it, you could be really well paid here in Ghana and be getting like 3,000 or 4,000 Ghana a month. But when you calculate that backwards to US dollars, if you could work, you could work a couple of gigs and maybe earn that much depending on what field you're in. So it's so much about earning abroad and spending here if you can.
Yeah, and I found since I've been here, some opportunities have come across my desk where I'm doing like site management for new construction sites, and
people just keep coming to you and they're like, here, you want to do this? And I think you just say yes to everything. No more yeses.
So even just some investment opportunities where I can bring in investors and connect them with local businessmen who need some revenue help. So that's been. It's been interesting, the amount of opportunities that are here.
So when you were in America, were you doing the same thing, like making money online?
She was.
I was. Yeah. I started in when my son was born in 2016, or 2015, excuse me. When I was on maternity leave, I was like, okay, kind of don't have anything to do. I should try to start an online business. And my first month, I made $2.46, and I was like, you can make money online. So from there, it was really like, oh, okay, if I can make $2, I can make $4. So let's figure out how to do this. And then after the 2016 trip, it really was like, this could be the key, is figuring out how to make this work so that we can be here.
Yeah, like self-sufficient.
Right. Yeah, and I had a construction company there, so it was just easy to let go of that to come here.
That's like the perfect thing to have expertise in here, because there's so much construction going.
Yeah, but I found that the difference is construction here is very heavily concrete, and there, I can build a house 3 months and you can move in. Here, it's a year and a half for that same house. So I had to learn a lot about construction here.
Oh, right, okay.
It's very different.
It's funny though, because people will come to the house to do something and he'll be watching and I'm like, are they doing it right?
I'm like, I have no idea. I've never seen this before, so.
But part of it, I think, too, is like you were talking about somebody was pouring concrete in the front and they just had a triangle trowel to do it.
Yeah.
And he was watching, he was like, in the States, you'd get the big thing and
And the guy's looking at me like, I've never heard of that. But it makes sense because I want to be here all day with this little thing. So I see the challenges of construction and how I can help move along the system a little bit. And a lot of people are coming in trying to figure that out. So
I was going to say, do you think that that model of building, which you were doing before, can be done here? Or do you think because of the climate and stuff?
No, I think it's just you have to, because of fire codes and all that here, building with wood isn't like a thing you want to do. You know, your house catches fire.
I know.
You
How many
start
fire
all over.
departments have you seen since you've been?
Yeah,
None.
Yeah, so if your wooden house catches on fire,
that's it.
that's the end of your
right,
house.
okay.
So some of the construction things they do here are very purposeful for the climate and the weather and the infrastructure.
So how have you guys found it here? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, he's never going back. Do you hear me? He's never going back.
No, I'll go back for like,
Holiday.
not even that, no.
You won't even go back for that.
We have a couple kids still in college.
Yes.
So I'll go back for graduation, but no, I love it here.
So aren't you? It's so amazing. I mean, it's the same as my husband's. Like, initially he wasn't sure, and now he's here. He's like, he would never ever go
You know,
back.
one of the biggest things for me though is like, as long as I keep my mouth shut, they have no idea I'm not
Yeah, from
Ghanaian.
here.
I just, they'll start talking to me and I'm like, okay. And go about my business and I'm like, I have no idea what they said, but it's cool, they don't know.
He did that one time. Somebody was yelling at him, and he was like, and then he drove off, and I was like, what did he say? He's like, I don't know, but I think he wants me to go park over there.
It worked out, you know.
And how about you?
Oh my God, I was a minority in the States, and I'm a minority here. So, I mean, I think the baggage that comes with that label is different in the two places. Mm-hmm. You know, it's much different. It always felt kind of off in the States to be labeled as Black without any context of it. You know, it's like, no, you know, I'm very connected to the places that I'm from on both sides of my family, and those are not important. And here it's also the same thing, like you look different.
Yeah.
So they know that you're not from here. And then a little bit of me's like, but wait, no. He is not the Ghanaian. He is my trophy husband.
Yeah.
I'm the Ghanaian that's come back home. And they always think it's the opposite. So it is very interesting to kind of navigate that, because people are usually shocked when they
Right.
find out that it was like, no,
You were the driver of this.
right. Yeah, so it's a little, it's a little different.
But do you think you want to stay here, or you think you would?
I'm versatile. I always envisioned a kind of bi-coastal
Yeah.
type of situation, because I think that's where my dad kind of envisioned himself as well. So that's what I've absorbed, is that you want to take advantage of the best of both worlds.
Okay.
However, in recent days, the best of both worlds for living in the States seems
Yeah.
like less best. So
Yeah.
if my kids have anything to do with it, you know, twice a year going to the States, filling up all of the suitcases and coming back is about it.
What has been some of the challenges that you might have faced, either moving here on the actual move or whilst being here?
This will be different for us.
Yeah.
Okay, for my
Wow.
children, it's internet.
Yeah.
They are like, why can't we be on the Wi-Fi 24/7 all the time? And I'm like, that's not, unlimited data is not a thing here, so we're gonna have to keep that under wraps. And then I think just finding your rhythm with lights going off and water going off and being able to find your rhythm in the day. I think that's probably one of the harder things. And it's not insurmountable, it's just annoying. You know, it's like you wake up and you're like, there's no water to, oh.
You know, I think my biggest challenge is like shoe shopping. I wear a size 12 shoe, and I think they stop at like 10 and a half.
no, that's
So I have to, get my shoes from the States, and like going shopping, if you find something, you're like, oh, great, they have this. You have to like buy all of
Hoard
them,
it.
and you feel guilty that you're
right.
buying all of something because
might not
you
be
go
there.
back in 2 days.
It
and
won't be there
It
next
won't be
time.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else bought all of them.
Yeah, that's happened to
So-
us a couple times. We're like, oh my God, look, they have something, and I'll get one because I'm like, we'll come back next week and get the. They're
Yeah.
gone. They're
Yeah.
gone.
So, yeah, those are small challenges, but I mean,
Yeah.
and the driving is still a challenge. Just they need a real traffic engineer to come here
yeah, the
and figure out the traffic.
So for anybody who is looking to make the move, what advice would you have for them?
What advice do you have?
Visit first.
That's always your.
Yeah, it's always, just come here for at least a week. Go to the area where you're thinking about moving to. Spend some time there. Walk the neighborhoods. Just see and what you're really getting into. A lot of
We've
people.
had people come and they're like, oh my God, we are such Cape Coast. We're going to live in Cape Coast. And then they go to Cape Coast. They're like, we'll never go back to Cape
Yeah.
Coast. Or, going to Kumasi and finding out that was not the place for them. Or heading out into Volta and be like, Volta's not it for me. That
or
visiting thing.
even coming to East Legon, they're like, oh, it's great, but the traffic, traffic.
Right.
And then they come to a place like Tema, they're like, how come we didn't know about Tema? And
He
it's
should
like,
be on the Tema tourism board. But it's just like any place that you live. That there's pros and cons, and to think in your head that like, oh, I'm going to go to Ghana. Ghana's the size of Florida, right? So it's like you could live in Orlando or you could live in
Pensacola.
Pensacola. Those are two different experiences.
Or Miami, yeah.
Or Miami. So you need to have that experience of being on the ground.
Right.
And for me, my advice is to have a really good plan.
Okay.
Everything is going to cost up front. So we once had somebody who was getting on the plane the next day and was like, I have $200 US and until my next paycheck in 10 days or something.
Yeah.
Do you know where I could stay? And
like,
Tony was like, in the States.
Yeah,
Don't get on the
come.
plane.
But he just sounded so desperate to come.
did.
Like, I just got to get out of here. And I'm like, oh, man. Whatever your situation is there is going to be amplified coming here with just $100, $200.
Yeah, you just have to have a good financial plan and really prepare. It's not something that you can just say, oh, I'm just going to go move to Ghana. No,
Yeah.
please have a plan
Yeah.
because there's so many people that come with really good intentions and then the money runs out and they have to go back and it's even harder to transition it twice,
Yeah.
So it's like if you can do it right the first time,
Yeah.
you'll save yourself headache in the long run.
Yeah. People come thinking, oh, I'm going to a developing country. It's going to be cheap there. And it's like, it's really not cheap here. I think that was one of our biggest things we come to grips with pretty fast was that things are kind of expensive here. And if you're trying to live a certain lifestyle, it's
The cost
way
goes
out
through the
there.
roof.
It's like if you want to go to the cafe, get a like frappuccino or like an iced coffee, like all that stuff is going to be the same price, if not a little bit more expensive.
This is his first Frappuccino since we've been here since September. I was like, what is
My
this?
first with you. I go to Second Cup all the time with Doug.
That's where the budget is going. You are the
I go to
budget
Second
buster.
Cup all the
Oh,
time.
But I do think you can also live here very affordably, but
Yes.
it's going to be like, a different way of life, basically.
You have
Yeah.
to live a Ghanaian life. if
Yeah,
you're
and
gonna
that's something that
be on a Ghanaian
we
budget.
try to do as much as possible is, from where we live to how we live. We don't do a lot of the extravagant things and people come here and it's like,
No.
yeah, we don't need all that.
Right. Like we don't have a pool. We don't have AC in every room. We don't have hot water in all of our sinks and showers. Like we're living.
A very minimalistic
Yeah.
style life. I mean,
And that was the point, I think. Like you have to accept that piece of it as part of your move. That if you're trying to transplant your U.S. life to Ghana, it's going to cost you more than it was there.
Yeah.
And it comes with its own unique set of challenges. Just come here and have the mindset that you're going to live like a Ghanaian person. You'll be much happier in the long run.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on my channel. Really appreciate it.
It's so fun.
it's great.
Yeah.
We're a fan of yours as well, and it's something to meet another YouTube star out there. So we appreciate the invite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, please do hit that subscribe button and press the bell so you're notified every time I make an upload. See you later.